Buenos dias, all. Good morning, Mario. What's going on, guys? It's RGT85. We're doing a good old news video today. We actually haven't done one of these in quite a while. I'm sure you guys have missed them, but we got a couple stories going on that I want to cover, and I don't really feel like making a full video on each of these stories, so we're going to combine them into one. If this is your first time here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. There's something in my eye. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games, and we have to start things off with a leak for a game that's coming to PlayStation and Nintendo platforms. And this is a game that I think people have been waiting for like quite a while. They initially came out on Steam. I want to say it's been like 2 years, and like people have always been asking me, RGT, when are these coming out on consoles? When are these coming out on consoles? I want these on consoles. And it looks like we'll finally be getting an answer pretty soon, and that involves the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. Now, of course, this was a collection of Final Fantasy games. I believe it was Final Fantasy 1 through 6 that came out on Steam that were the classic Final Fantasy games. It kind of made sense for these to come out on home consoles, but of course, time has gone on and we haven't heard anything. Well, the ESRB has just rated these games for both Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4, so by extension PlayStation 5, and it seems like we're going to get an announcement pretty soon about when these games will be coming to home consoles. Now, it's actually interesting because I know there's going to be people in the comment section who say, well, this isn't a leak because it's coming from the ESRB, but to me, a leak for a game is when a game gets revealed or rated for a platform, and the company themselves, this company of course being Square Enix, doesn't make the announcement themselves. Square Enix have not said that this is coming to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation systems. We're getting this information from the ESRB. I actually had a debate about this. It was myself and Spawnwave versus Nate the Hate, and Spawn and I kind of said, yo, I mean, if they're not the company that's announcing it, it's kind of a leak. So I'm saying it's a leak, and if you don't like it, whatever, you'll get over it. Everything will be okay. But of course, when it comes to a situation like this, we've only talked about 2 of the 3 platforms, and it does not look like these games, the Final Fantasy Pixel Collection, are coming to Xbox. And Xbox fans are a bit miffed by this. Now, when you look at Xboxes and really JRPGs in general, like, yeah, the Xbox does get some JRPGs, but when you compare it to something like the PlayStation systems, every time a game is a multi-platform release, especially when it comes to a JRPG game, the PlayStation version outsells it almost 2 to 1, like every time. So maybe Square Enix is going to port this at a later date. This could be something that ends up coming to Game Pass at some point in time. I'm not quite sure. You know, there are a bunch of Final Fantasy games available on Game Pass, but you got to remember, it took a very long time for those games to come over to the Xbox. We got versions of Final Fantasy VII on the Nintendo Switch before we got it on the Xbox. It's an unfortunate thing, but I feel like if you're an Xbox gamer who loves JRPGs, you probably have another way to play JRPGs because the Xbox just doesn't get that many for whatever the reason may be. Maybe development costs aren't quite worth it for companies. Of course, it would be pretty easy to port these over to an Xbox system. You just have to have the achievements going on with it. You know, is that really that big of a deal? You could just add those in, whatever. I'm not a game developer. I'm just someone who watches game development and watches video games, but it does seem like Final Fantasy Pixel remasters are indeed at least coming to the Nintendo Switch and the PS4 and PS5 by extension. I hope that there's a physical collection of this. You know, I don't expect it necessarily to get a physical collection stateside, but I feel like this is something that could come out in like Japan or something like that, get a physical edition, and then that would be pretty cool to pick up. Out of all these games, you know, I definitely have an affinity for Final Fantasy IV, which was technically Final Fantasy 2, but Final Fantasy 4 on the Super Nintendo. I love that opening intro scene where it's like the snow and stuff. I always thought that was just so cool. It was a really cool way to start up a game. You had the Mode 7 graphics going on with it. So I think this is cool, you know. I love these retro compilations, you know, and when they have additional work done to them, I think that's a really good thing. Let me know in the comment section down below, though. Are you planning on picking up this collection? I feel like a lot of people are going to be excited for this. And if you're an Xbox fan, how do you feel about it? Do you feel a bit left out in the cold, like in that intro scene that I just talked about? Or do you think that they will eventually come to the Xbox platform? And finally, if you're a pothead, 2023 has a huge game coming out for you that you probably have circled on your calendar. But depending on which version of the game you're wanting to get, you might have to remove that circle. And that is, of course, Hogwarts Legacy. Pothead, Potter, Harry Potter. Now, let me be realistic here. Harry Potter games, Harry Potter in general, it doesn't do much for me. I actually watched, like a couple of years ago, all of the Harry Potter movies in the span of 2 days with a girl who was like obsessed with them, and like they're kind of cool or whatever. I think this game itself looks very cool. I like how it's sort of a more mature take on the Harry Potter stuff, or Hogwarts Legacy, because, you know, whatever, I guess they're trying to go away from the Harry Potter name for whatever reason, but Harry Potter fans are the ones who are really excited about this. But I feel like this game is managing to transcend, like, just beyond what Harry Potter was about and those movies. You know, if you grew up watching those movies, you probably want a more mature experience. Now, this game is coming out on pretty much everything: PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, even Nintendo Switch. Well, maybe Nintendo Switch, because that Switch version is not sounding too good right now. Hogwarts Legacy just made an announcement this morning talking about what is going on with their versions of the games. Now, the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC versions are still coming out on February 10th, which is the original release date for this game. If you get the early access version of the game, you get 72 hours of early access beginning on February 7th. But if you're wanting to play on PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. The PlayStation 4 and Xbox One versions have been delayed until April 4th. And what about that Nintendo Switch version of the game? When is that version of the game coming out? Well, now it's scheduled for June 25th. And at this point in time, I think we can all just come to some sort of agreement with this. The last generation versions of this game are probably struggling. They obviously need more optimization, but the fact that the Switch version is delayed beyond the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One versions of the game, that should be very scary for you. That should be very spooky for you, because that means that that version of the game is having the most problems. Because realistically, I think from a sales perspective, if all of these versions came out at the same time, I think the Switch version would actually be somewhat successful against the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. Maybe not sell as much as the PlayStation 5, but I think you can make a case that it would be right alongside there with the Xbox Series X version of the game in terms of sales, not necessarily in terms of quality. But since I am an investigative journalist, not really, I've decided to dig into the World Wide Web and find you guys some screenshots of the Switch version of the game. These were very hard to attain, but I managed to do it. So here are some exclusive screenshots of Hogwarts Legacy for your Nintendo Switch, and as you can see, it's not great. You know, it's gonna need a little bit of work, and it's a little rough around the edges. Let's be realistic here. But I think the core game, obviously I'm just kidding, these are from a Harry Potter game that came out on the PlayStation 1, but to me it's just kind of like, okay, you tried to put this out on the Switch, you tried to put this out on last generation consoles, maybe we should just move on. You know, maybe we should just move on from this. It's obviously hard to develop a game across multiple platforms, multiple platform generations, and have multiple versions of the game. I feel like developers need to start focusing more so on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X stuff. Maybe you want to have a Switch version of the game, maybe not, but it's time to leave that past console generation behind if you want to, you know, keep the medium going forward. You want to keep, you know, expanding upon the worlds you can craft and create, because no matter what anyone says, yes, when you have something like the Xbox One VCR, that's going to hold back the Xbox Series X version of the game. Like, yes, you have these scalable engines and stuff like that, and that's fine, but when you compare, you know, an Xbox One VCR version of a game to an Xbox Series X version of a multi-platform game, the Xbox Series X version always looks like something that's way beyond what it was doing on the Xbox One. So I get it from a sales standpoint. There's still a lot of people who don't have an Xbox Series X, who don't have a PlayStation 5. So that's fine. You want to try to get some of their money too. But at some point in time, we have to, you know, move on from these last generation consoles. That Switch version, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that thing gets canned. I would not be surprised if that thing gets canceled, because there's obviously something happening behind the scenes with this version of the game to get such a substantial delay. Like, bro, that thing is going to be spooky. It might end up even being like a cloud version of the game, which we all know cloud versions of crap are unplayable. They're just unplayable for the most. You know, Hitman 3 was okay because it's a slow game. Everything else, though, unplayable nonsense. So if you're a pothead with a Nintendo Switch and you're looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy, you're going to be waiting quite a while. This game has been substantially delayed until June, and I'm not even sure if that's going to hit that release date. So what do you think about Hogwarts Legacy? Is this a game you want to check out? Let me know in the comments down below. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I wasn't even going to make a video today, but I decided to change my mind. I got a bunch of Christmas crap going on. I've got to start planning the Balan nonsense, my Christmas gift to you people, because I hate you all, and I want you to feel my pain and suffering, because Metroid didn't sell 3 million. It sold 2.9 million, and there's no statistic out there that says otherwise that is confirmed by Nintendo. Suck it. But yeah, I gotta wrap some Christmas gifts and crap and car stuff. But let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. If you stuck around to the end of the video, thank you. You are a superstar. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, hit that bell notification as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.